Alright, so I want to make a bit of an amendment, or at least an addition to my Perks of Atheism video. The question, of course, was what are the benefits of being an atheist? What does atheism have to offer? And my initial answer was, well, that's not a good question to be asking. It shouldn't be about what the perks and the benefits are. It should be about truth and evidence, and it should be about, what you think is the most accurate reflection of reality. And then I gave a very brief sort of answer about, like, vaguely why atheism might be, nice, or what some advantages might be. But I want to go more into depth on that, and I want to tackle the issue as if we were coming from the assumption that you were an atheist, because you believed that it was truthful, and because you believed that, it was the most accurate representation, and you weren't in it for the benefits, but now let's talk about what the benefits might happen to be. On a personal level, with regard to morality and accountability, I think in an atheistic worldview, morality is very much for the sake of itself, and not so much for appeasing, a deity or an entity greater than yourself, or based on punishment or reward. It's based on reason and interaction, and we have a much better understanding of why we are moral and the reasons that go into being moral and the repercussions of being moral, as opposed to being moral because we think that we're supposed to, because might makes right, and there's a greater being that's telling us to do so. I think it's two different levels of maturity with regard to morality and ethics. And also, I think that our level of accountability and social responsibility for our actions changes when we believe that this is all there is. If all of our actions are for the sake of treating people right because we've rationally deduced that they deserve it, again, that lends towards an ethical and moral maturity that I think you wouldn't have if your moral principles are based upon punishment or reward or arbitrary instruction. Also, I think with atheism, there tends to be the potential for a better coping mechanism when it comes to tragedy and disaster. A lot of the time, if somebody has, cancer or some other terminal disease, or something goes wrong, or there's a freak accident, a lot of people tend to go, oh God, why me, why my loved one, why did this happen, what are the reasons, why did God do this, there must be an explanation, I can't think of the explanation, and so they're constantly seeking to justify everything from, a purpose point of view, as opposed to a reason or a cause point of view, and I think an atheist doesn't need to do that. I think as an atheist you understand that it's not personal, and you don't have to take it personally, and it's science, and if somebody has cancer, there's a scientific explanation for that cancer, and if somebody gets into a car accident, there was a causal, reaction process which led to that car accident, and it's not somebody up in the sky manipulating, and it's not bad luck, and it's just science, it's just fact, it's just cause and effect. And then finally there's also the seemingly superficial but relevant issue of time and money. That's an easy one. So much energy is poured into talking to God and praying to God and asking forgiveness from God and apologizing to God and feeling like things in life have to be done so as to account to God, and then the time that goes into churches and going to church and praying and going on activities and going and buying books and merchandise and self-help Christian programs, and the money that goes into constructing churches and and other Christian institutions. All that time and money and energy could be spent on other things. Instead of building a church, you could build a hospital or a homeless shelter, and instead of going to church, you could be exercising or meditating or going and seeing a shrink, if that's what you need. So that, that's a really obvious one right there. So that's all really basic sort of personal stuff. And then there are also, in addition to that, advantages societally, culturally, to atheism. Meaning, if we were all atheists, if there was no such thing as religion or theism in general, there would be huge advantages to that in terms of progress and social structure. There's the war issue. More wars have been started in the name of God and religion than for any other reason. More murders have been committed in the name of God and religion than for any other reason. And then, of course, there's the scientific stuff, like stem cell research. Stem cell research, that's the kicker for me, because it has the potential to cure every known disease, and aid with every known disease. And if you don't believe that a 3-day-old human embryo, which is a collection of 150 cells called a blastocyst, if you don't believe that that has a soul, if you understand that that is it has no consciousness, it has no nervous system, it has no ability in any way to be aware of itself or its own existence, if you don't believe that that has a soul which you're killing, then you can heal the world. And it's unbelievable the amount of progress that's been impeded because of the belief that there's a soul inside a 3-day-old human embryo that somehow takes precedence over the soul of a human girl, 9-year-old girl dying of cancer whose parents can do nothing about it. I mean, that philosophy blows my mind. So there you have it. So there's a few benefits to subscribing to an atheistic secular worldview on a personal and societal level. Not all the benefits, but there's a few of them. This went on a lot longer than I thought it would, so I apologize for that. But thank you for listening, and take care.